You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast.
This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 31st day of July, 2025. Think about that. Tomorrow starts a new month. Last trading day of July today. And Thursday means it is members only workshop tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're a member, you'll get an invitation. If you're not a member, you can become a member today. Just send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the email, let Valerie know you want to become a member. She'll send you an email with a link so that you can become a member, and she'll make sure you get an invitation, and you'll be able to attend the members only workshop with us tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And members, please have your questions ready. Okay? All right. Okay, we got to move fast today. I got some things I got to do. Michael is back, so he'll be joining us at the top of the hour. He'll give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, and then do a little live trading on the TradingView platform. And then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day, and we're out of here. Okay? This is the schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So let's dive into our daily devotional, where we start each and every day. We began a new topic yesterday in honor of Phil Robertson. He was the father of the Robertson clan. What Robertson? The Duck Dynasty Robertsons. You never watched the show? Man, you got to watch it. It was great. I forget how many seasons there were. But it's on Fox Nation, I know, and I'm sure there's other places you can find it as well. And Phil was the patriarch of the family. And he was quite a character. First half of his life, till he found God, and then everything changed. Our scripture today, and the topic of the devotion, is one that was written by Phil Robertson some years ago. God is not dead. Do you agree? New York Times disagreed. Pretty sure they probably still do. But anyway, our scripture today is Romans 12, verses 14 through 16. I'm going to share it from the Message translation. Bless your enemies. No cursing under your breath. Laugh with your happy friends when they're happy. Share tears when they're down. Get along with each other. Don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't try to be the great somebody. Again, Romans 12, 14 through 16 from the Message translation. There's a simple solution to all of our disunity, and it's a truth found in the absolute truth of God's Word. And I'm sure you'll agree, at this point in history, there is more division and dysfunction in our nation and in the world than we've ever seen in all our years on planet Earth. But there's a solution, a simple solution. We can return to the Almighty and understand how He's created us to be unified under His message. What is that message? that all of us are created in the image of God, and so He loves us all without distinction. Well, of course, He loves Joel Osteen more than the guy on death row, right? Right? Wrong. Jesus came preaching the unifying love of God. But He didn't just preach it, He embodied it. He spent time with men and women, rich and poor, sick and healthy, Jews and Gentiles. He asked a Roman employee, Matthew the tax collector, to become His disciple. He also asked a Jewish zealot, who would have hated that Roman tax collector, Peter, to follow along. He touched the lepers in Matthew 8:2. He spent time with the hated Samaritans, including a second-class, outcast, divorced 5 times over Samaritan woman at the well in John 4:1. Jesus came and He showed no favoritism. All He showed was love for all. The good news of the gospel is that it frees us from the lies and possession of the enemy. It can bring ultimate unity, if only we believe it. The gospel turns conservative, redneck duck hunters and hate-filled rehab patients into family. It brings together folks of every ethnicity, nationality, economic class, and gender. It heals the division in our country. We have the word of truth. It's the tool that might make us all a family again. So let's get at it. When we gather on Sunday mornings, let's model a love for our neighbors that shows no favoritism based upon class, color, or nationality. But let's not stop there. Let's be examples to the rest of the world. Let's carry the truth of Christ's unity out into the workplace, into public schools, into the rehab centers. Let's carry it into the political process, into the voter booth. Let's share it with those who are possessed by their father. And let's watch deliverance happen. Thank you for that, Phil. Now, today was day 2 of 5. So we'll pick up tomorrow, day 3. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, teach us to bless those who hurt us, to walk in humility, and to live in harmony with one another. Help us to rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. Keep us from pride and guide us to live peacefully and graciously, just as You have called us to do. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Big day yesterday, huh? The Fed, and then Meta and Microsoft. We'll talk about all of that in a minute. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Get things rolling here. All right, starting in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow's down 27 points. The Nasdaq's up 202. S&P 500 is up 32. The Russell 2000 is down 6. The dreaded divided markets. 2 in the red and 2 in the green. That can make for some difficult trading. Hopefully you've had a good trading day. In the commodity basket, wow, crude oil finally took a turn. After being up $1 or more 3 days in a row, crude is down $1.30, trading 68.71 last. That's a drop of almost 2%. Gold is only down $6 today, trading 33.4680 last. But silver is down $1.03, trading 36.70 last. That's a drop of 2.75%, or $5,000 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei gained 415 points, a little over 1%. Shanghai dropped 42. For the Shanghai, that's a little over 1%. The Hang Seng fell 403. That's over 1.5%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 4. The DAX down 177. The CAC down 89. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a red day for the UK. And as I mentioned, it is a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. Well, set your watch, set your clock, set the alarm. The tariffs go into effect tonight. And Trump has said there's not going to be any last minute moving the goalpost. President Donald Trump announced a slew of tariff-related updates yesterday. The changes come as most countries will face rates of 15 to 20% beginning tonight or tomorrow morning at 12:01 a.m. Eastern. So if you're on the West Coast, that would be 9:01 p.m. Pacific. Trump yesterday said India will face 25% tariffs and an added penalty for purchasing Russian oil. Brazil will face 50% tariffs next week. Trump separately announced 50% tariffs on all copper imports. The U.S. will also end the global de minimis exemption later this month, which allowed packages valued below $800 to enter the country duty-free. Some countries negotiated lower tariffs in the lead-up to tonight's deadline. South Korea just came in under the wire. They negotiated a baseline of 15% in exchange for investing hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. Indonesia, Japan, the Philippines, the UK, Vietnam, and the European Union also reached revised deals. Pakistan, probably haven't heard it said that way since Obama. I always called it Pakistan, but he called it Pakistan, is expected to finalize a deal shortly. Will they get it in under the wire? I don't know. We'll see. The average effective tariff rate is estimated to rise to 18.4%, the highest level since 1933. Prior to 1933, the United States' only source of income was tariffs. This was pre-Internal Revenue Service. Back then, it was the External Revenue Service. Well, not how things changed, right? Clothing and shoes will be especially affected, with prices predicted to rise roughly 40% in the short term. Well, here's what's going to happen. Prices might bump up a little, But when these countries realize that Trump is actually serious and their shipments start getting refused at the ports, oh, they're going to be begging to come to the table. It's a shame it had to come to that because, I mean, my goodness, he's given them chance after chance after chance, and they think he's bluffing. Well, hopefully tonight they find out he's not. No more reprieves. I mean, this is a 4-year presidency. You know, daylight's burning. We're over 6 months into this thing. President Trump today said he was granting Mexico a 90-day reprieve on higher tariffs, saying he would extend Mexico's current tariff rates to allow for more negotiating time. In the days and hours before his tariffs are set to come into full force, Trump has unleashed a flurry of deals and trade moves, which included a new pact with South Korea and an extension of Mexico's current tariff rates for another 90 days. The South Korean government agreement includes a 15% tariff rate on imports from the country, while the U.S. will not be charged a penny as we ship our goods into their country. Now, some people think this is harsh. We've been taken advantage of for so long. It's time for repatriation. Microsoft has become the second publicly traded company ever to cross the $4 trillion market cap. Chip giant Nvidia previously passed the threshold on July 9th. $4 trillion. Microsoft hit the milestone Thursday morning following its strong Q4 earnings report, in which it also said its Azure business brought in $75 billion over the prior year. The company's stock price has climbed more than 110% since the debut of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November of 2022. Nvidia is up 1% on the session. Microsoft is up 4.5% on the session. Google is down 1.5%. The S&P 500 and the tech-heavy NASDAQ both surged yesterday, setting sights on fresh record stock highs after strong Meta and Microsoft earnings boosted faith in a payoff from big tech's massive AI investments. Meta shares shot up 11% late morning as investors welcomed its earnings beat and stronger than expected guidance, even as it ramps up its AI spending spree. Microsoft stock jumped as much as 8% after its impressive results, which pushed the tech giant's market cap above $4 trillion. Carvana. Now, I thought the sky was supposed to be falling. What's up? Shares of Carvana skyrocketed to an all-time high today when the used car retailer beat earnings this morning and revenue expectations as it sold more retail and wholesale vehicles. Carvana is up, you ready for this? 18%, 18.5% on the session. Company reported second quarter GAAP earnings per share of $1.28 on revenue that soared 42% to a quarterly record of $4.84 billion. Now, imagine what's going to happen when Jerome or whoever takes his chair at the Fed actually lowers rates. I mean, if people can buy this many cars at these absurdly high interest rates, this is the golden age of America. And you can tell your grandkids, I was there when it happened, or your great-grandkids, or just put it in your memoirs. Now, today, Apple is scheduled to report quarterly earnings after the closing bell. Current options pricing suggests traders are expecting the shares could move 4% in either direction by the end of Friday's trading session from their recent level at $209. A move of that scale could lift the stock above $217, its highest level since shares plunged following President Donald Trump's Liberation Day. That was the day where he said it might be a good idea to buy stocks. At the low end, it could bring shares down to $200, where they were roughly a month ago. The stock has lost 17% of its value in 2025 so far. Last week, Morgan Stanley analysts cautioned that the Trump administration could soon subject Apple to Section 232 tariffs, which are tied to national security concerns and have held up better in court than country-specific duties. My. So be ready after the bell today. Apple reports. Microsoft surprise to the upside, Meta surprise to the upside. What will Apple do? Could be another busy afternoon. Last night, I know I said yesterday on the broadcast that I would probably wait on putting out the CTAs, the concierge trade alerts, until about 6:45, but I looked at the markets and the way they closed, and it looked like, remember, futures trade up until 5 p.m. Eastern. Those earnings reports came out at 4:05. So it looked like the market had, kind of done what it was going to do. So I went ahead and put the alerts out at 5:55 p.m. Eastern, 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open at 6 p.m. Eastern. Today's the Thursday session, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll get to the CTAs in just a minute. Right now, we're going to look at Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, also crude, gold, and silver. We're currently in week 365. Over the last 365 weeks, we've issued over 20,200 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie did the recap this morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. She will update it this afternoon before the members-only workshop. I have issued a couple of additional alerts since she did the recap, so these numbers will change. But at the time she did the recap this morning, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued a total of 54 alerts. 2 never triggered, and the reason those 2 never triggered is because they were for the gold Q contract, and we rolled this week to the Z contract. So you can't trade a contract that's expired, so that's what that's all about. And at the time Valerie did the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 13 alerts. And I think some of those have resolved themselves positively. We'll find out when the alert comes out, or when the recap comes out this afternoon. So with 54 issued, 2 never triggered, and 13 waiting, that gave us 39 actionable alerts, of which 2 or 5% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. So it's a Thursday, 2 stop outs. It would be nice to end the week in the single digits, but again, over 365 weeks, the average has been 20% or less. The actual number is really around 12%, but we like to stay humble. God loves a humble man. I read it in a very good book. Okay, the logic alerts each have an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and then typically additional targets and then a final trade to target. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. Now, of course, you can trade the logic alerts because they're put out well ahead of actually triggering. You usually have anywhere from 30 minutes to a couple days to get in position to take advantage of the trade alert. Our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, they're different than the logic alerts. Number one, they don't come out around the clock. They're typically posted 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open. So the Thursday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. 5 minutes before the session started, all of our traders had all of these targets. The ES, S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now, as we go through the individual markets, you'll see these targets drawn on the chart. Just remember, all of our traders had these targets 5 minutes ahead of the market opening. All right. So with that said, we can actually go to the chart. What do we got? A doji. Now, I did say in the discussion group this morning that when the London markets closed, or the European markets closed at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we might drop through this support times 2. The step line and blue and climbing. When those get directly below price, they become potential support. And so what we had most of the morning was this wick, and then we got a red body, and then the European markets closed. We took a little plunge, but we've kind of bounced back, and so we're sitting on top. Now, this is the all-time historic high, 64.68 half. I managed to get it to 64.68. That's close enough on the daily chart. Okay, but that's the all-time historic high. We've retreated and dropped significantly, but bounced back, leaving us with a doji, which is a signal or symbol of indecision. Institutional traders are trying to decide if they should put their foot on the brake or keep buying. It takes financial commitment for price to rise. All it takes for price to fall is for the institutional traders to hit pause on the buy side. Now, institutional traders are the ones who actually move price. And they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. It has everything to do with account size. So I encourage you, whatever you trade, stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETFs, spend 1 hour, or not 1 hour, 2 minutes. Spend 2 minutes with the daily chart. It gives you a free look over the shoulder of what the deep pockets, the institutional traders who move price, you kind of get an idea of what they're looking at. Okay. So we had a run up last night, but this morning we were sitting on top of support, and then we dipped below support, and now we're back right here. How we close today, as every day, will be important. If we close above, and I think it'll have a lot to do with Apple's earnings. When we reopen tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, we should see a reflection of that. Right now, the doji, indecision. This green line is called the BBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses below the green line, like it did February 21st, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When it crosses above the green line, as it did on April 24th, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Price always reverts to the mean. It doesn't matter what methodology or strategy or indicators you use or what market you trade. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green, and we call it the BBC. Bearish, bullish, bullish. Now, notice that when price reverts to the mean, or in our parlance, pulls back to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Even though it holds more often than it doesn't, we know eventually it will trade through. Pullback held, pullback held, pullback held, pullback held. And now we're long overdue for a pullback. And notice how the daily BBC, first we saw it work its way up to the 38 and the 50. Now it's pretty much aligned with the 62. So a drop to the 62 would seem quite dramatic, but this is the shallowest possible Fibonacci retracement, 60.93. We're currently trading 64.23. Now, to keep this market healthy, we should get at least a 38, preferably a 50% retracement. That would give this thing legs to run through the end of the year. Okay. All of the alerts, both the logic and the concierge, are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's the time frame I chose many years ago, and I've stayed with it. If you find yourself switching time frames every day, stop. Pick a time frame, get familiar with its rhythm, and stay with it. Now, I'm talking about the larger time frame, because you need to understand multiple time frames. You look at the daily, then you look at your 30-minute or your 15-minute, or for some it's a 5-minute, for some it's a 4-hour. Whatever you choose, stick with it, okay? Because it's the larger time frame that gives you an idea which direction the market is headed. If you just look at your range chart, you're going to get tunnel vision. And then you're going to get blindsided by something that was so obvious if you had simply looked at a larger time frame. You don't have to execute on the larger time frame. I call it my roadmap. Okay? Lets me know when I want to be long above the BBC and when I want to be short below the BBC. In the Logic 247 channel, I said earlier there's 20,200 plus individual alerts. Every one of them is a trend trade based on the 30-minute chart. In other words, if it's a long alert, price is above the 30-minute BBC. If it's a short alert, price is below the 30-minute BBC. And price always reverts to the mean. Don't forget that. In fact, we have price trying to work its way up to the BBC right now. The step line is in the process of crossing red and falling. So this pullback, I think, will hold. This was the gap higher open last night. We gapped. This was the closing candle. Closing 30-minute candle. So if you put these two candles together, that was the final hour of trading from 4 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. So we gapped higher on the open right into a weekly trading zone. Now the vertical line separates today Thursday, back here's Wednesday. Let's scroll back, you'll see Tuesday, Monday, etc. So we gapped up to the zone and we had a doji. And then price took off, hit the long target, and continued right on up to the weekly trading zone. That's not the highest weekly trading zone. There's still one more overhead. So I suspect, even if Apple has really good earnings today, I think we'll close well below the highest weekly zone. So anyway, from support, we ran to resistance. We got above this zone. Here's where your all-time historic high came in, right here. Now that was 30 minutes after the London Open. You see all the stuff that took place in the US yesterday. The Fed, the earnings reports from Microsoft and Meta. The European traders did not have a chance to react to any of that until 3 a.m. Eastern. So the all-time historic high came in the middle of the night. Now, it used to be the Globex session, nobody even paid it any attention. It was kind of meaningless. Over the years, we've seen it become more and more important. New highs and new lows are quite often put in on the overnight session, the Globex session. So off that all-time historic high, we came back to the BBC, we consolidated, we bounced up to red and falling. See, when you have red and falling chasing price, that's a good indication that price may trade through the BBC, as it did here. All these pullbacks held. Then we find support at the weekly trading zone. That bounces us up to resistance at the black step line. And then down we go. This was the 9:30 opening candle on Wall Street. We came down through this zone, but then we ended up closing back up just below this zone. Okay. Here's the 10 a.m. candle. Price tried to go higher, but it ran into resistance where? At the BBC. Pullback holds more often than not. So we got a leg down. We spiked this zone. Now this low right here, we spiked this area right here where the step line crossed blue and climbing. I would have been looking for support there. We spiked it by, I don't know, a point or two. Now we're bouncing off of support, looking for resistance. We may find it here at the zone, but I'm thinking we'll find it at the BBC. That gap higher open last night filled on, was it this candle? Nay, it was on this candle right here. On the indices, the gaps almost always fill within a couple of hours, and almost always in the same session. There are exceptions. Here's the Dow. We opened right here last night at the weekly trading zone. When price encounters a weekly trading zone, only one of three things happens. 70% of the time, it's consolidation. 20% of the time, it's rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when price slices through a zone on a 30-minute chart like it's not even there. Typically, when that happens, price will retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. But when you got earnings in the Fed pushing price around, well, even look what happened. This Fed business started right here, 2 o'clock. And see, the FOMC statement itself barely moved the needle. But when Jerome stepped up to the podium at 2:30, we ran all the way up to the zone overhead. And then, now on the S&P, I was just showing you we have one more zone overhead. On the Dow, we got one more zone below. That's pretty unusual. So we consolidated at the zone, but you see all this blue and climbing? That got us through the BBC. We ran right up to the long target, which was simply based off this high from yesterday. That's market structure. Resistance will send the market looking for support, which it found at the zone. Remember, when price rallies up to a zone, we look for resistance until proven otherwise. When it drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. So we consolidated at the zone, bounced up to the BBC, back to the zone, back to the BBC. Then we got the big move that took us all the way down to the short target. Keep in mind, all of our members and all of our trial members had these targets 5 minutes before the market opened over here. This was the opening candle last night. We hit them both. I suspect this pullback will hold. We'll see. If it does, we'll get another leg to the downside. See how the step line attempted to cross? And now it's trying to cross again. When red and falling or the black step line gets directly below price, it becomes potential support. When it gets directly above price, it becomes potential resistance. The Russell. Bearish cross from Tuesday. That was this high right here. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And it was. It sent price all the way back to the BBC. But these wicks to the upside, that's a warning that a drop's coming. And boy, did it drop. I think the Russell fell more than any of the other markets. So we opened here last night, went sideways, red and falling, turned to blue and climbing. Now, see on the way down how these are parallel, the black step line, red and falling? But right here, that changes. The step line crosses from the left side to the right side of red and falling. When that happens, we expect a retracement to the BBC. And that's exactly what we got. Then these highs here fail to take out these highs. So we got another dip. Took us down to the lows we saw early in the session. Support sends the market to resistance, weekly trading zone, would send us back down to the overnight lows. See what an important area of support this is right here? For all this movement, it comes back down here. Market has a memory. Boom. But this move failed to take out this high. Down we go again. Now the Russell's a little difficult to read. Price is above the BBC, and we do have blue and climbing below. So 2243 to 2245, that would give you your goal for the day. And what's this low? 29. So whichever way price goes, you could sell 2231 down to 29. That would give you your goal for the day. Or you could buy 43 up to 45. That would give you your goal for the day. Now this long target, okay, it's based off that bearish cross. We're probably not going to hit that today. But as you can see here, now I pointed this out on one of the other charts, but see how we hit resistance right at the bearish cross? Did we do it on the ES too? No, ES was different. But on the Dow, we saw it to Russell. We see it. See, on the Dow, I think it had to go all the way back to Tuesday. Nope, we didn't have a bearish cross on Tuesday. I must have saw that when I was looking at something else. Okay, so this was the open on the NQ. We're above the BBC. We have blue and climbing. We expect higher prices. We got them right up to the long target. And then we got above the highest weekly trading zone for the NQ. Remember, two tech heavyweights had blowout earnings yesterday. But resistance. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, or red and falling, that's potential resistance. There was one last gasp right here today. And then all the way down to the zone. Now the zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. We have posted the zones, or published the zones, every week for our members for the last 15.5 years. Yesterday, with all the noise going on, right, with the Fed, resistance at the zone, support at the zone. And these are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Where do we find support today? At the zone. We've now bounced back above this zone. The step line looks like it wants to cross red and falling. If it does, look for retracement back to the BBC. If we continue lower, then you've got potential support here. Now this was a bullish cross, and we found support. Bullish cross leads to an extended move. First time price revisits the area. Good support. Crude oil. This is the highest weekly zone for crude right here. So we traded above it yesterday afternoon, and when we pulled back, we bounced off of the highest weekly zone right up into blue and climbing, which acted as resistance as it became red and falling. Took price back down to the zone where it consolidated. It made an attempt to go higher, and then we got a leg, a retracement, and a leg. Now, see right here where price hit the short target? Look at the horizontal line on my cursor. See the bullish cross? That's when the blue line gets above the green line. When that happens, and it leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. And it was. See it? Support will send the market looking for resistance. We hit the BBC, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise. We spiked it and ultimately found resistance at the zone. And then we closed. When we hit that resistance, that sent us back down to the short target a second time. Now the second time down, we actually traded through the bullish cross. Okay, but look at these lows here. Basically these lows from yesterday afternoon. Support sends us to resistance, the BBC. I think this pullback will hold, so look for another leg to the downside on crude. Gold, this was the opening candle last night. Red and falling below us, turned to blue and climbing. Got us up to the BBC and the zone. We consolidated sideways. Then we made our run up to the long target, which is based off this high right here. We continued up to the zone, which was published Monday morning. And we hit it once, twice, 3 times. Didn't quite hit it that time. So we had a high, a lower high, and now back to the zone. So we went from the zone to the zone, back to the zone. We just had a bearish cross here. So I suspect prices, gold could drop to 33.24 in today's session. Actually, this area right here, 33.25. I would not be surprised to see price drop. And if it doesn't do it today, possibly tomorrow. Silver. This was the open last night. We dropped to blue and climbing. Support walked us right up to the BBC and the zone. That's resistance times 2. Now this is the second to the lowest weekly zone on silver. We still got one more below. So when price pulls back to the BBC, the resistance, the pullback holds more often than not. We expect that to be resistance till proven otherwise. Same scenario here. Price hits a zone and the BBC. So when you hear me say resistance times 2, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. 2 reasons for the market to find resistance, and it did. And it sent price all the way down to the short target. Got a little bounce, and then we continued significantly lower. Buyers came in here. Now you'd have to go look way left to see the spot that generated this bounce. Took us right to the BBC. Pullback held, This time when we dropped, okay, now you see the step line crossed. Price ran right up to the BBC. But red and falling was directly below price on its way to becoming blue and climbing. So you see how it became support? See, on the way down, they were running parallel. But then it crossed. The step line crossed. That sent us back to the BBC, resistance. But when red and falling curls up under price like that, you should expect it to be support, just like it was here. And support will always send us to resistance, which we've found at the BBC so far. This candle has 3 minutes left in its lifespan. But we do have blue and climbing. It's not a lot, but it's a little. So we'll see what happens. Maybe get another leg to the downside. Or consolidate sideways into the close. On the daily, we still have a doji, but now we got a little bit of a red body. Leg, retracement. See, price didn't make it all the way back to the BBC. It made it to the zone, almost to the zone. What was the swing high there? 35.25. So we missed it by 3 ticks. When price can't get all the way back to the BBC, now you've got red and falling curling up below, so that's support. Resistance, price is pinched right here. But looking at it on the bigger picture, if we close below this support times 2 today, and I think we very well could. Price has already come down and tested this area once. It was basically testing yesterday's low. Or not yesterday's low, but yesterday's open. So before we get to the 62 and the daily BBC, we've got this low right here at 63.67. Should probably write that number down. That's potentially good support. I think we'll see that number before we see this number, which is the 100% fib extension at 65.85. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Just tell Valerie you want to become a member. She'll send you an email that explains what it means to become a member. She'll provide you with a link you can click to actually become a member. Once you become a member, she'll send you more emails. Create a folder in your email client, because a lot of the emails, it'll be like, man, I don't even know what she's talking about. Just shove it into that folder. Because as you start to learn the methodology and the strategy and about the alerts and all the other things, you already got the information. Just put it somewhere so you'll be able to find it. If you lose it or accidentally delete it, we'll resend it, okay? As a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live training every trading day in an interactive environment. Michael's putting on taking off trades, explaining every move he makes, every trade he takes, and you see the results right in front of your eyes. Along with 2 hours of live training, you get private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. You'll get the Logic 247 alerts, concierge trade alerts the second they're published each evening, like they were last night, 5 minutes before the open. Monday mornings, you get the weekly trading zones. Thursday afternoon, you get the invitation to join the members-only workshop at 8 p.m. Eastern. So a reminder, members, tonight's the night. Have your questions ready. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof. One low price. It's a good deal. I checked. All right, Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, do a little live trading on the TradingView platform. I'll come back, wrap it all up with our good word for the day. And you are... Hang on. There we go. Looks good. Yep.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 31st and final day of July 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, you can start the free trial now and you get it all week next week too. Go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Start the trial now. You get it all week next week as well. When you click on that, it will bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number down at the bottom. Make sure you give us a TradingView login ID. Okay, we don't have very many indicators on the charts, but the ones that we do have are on TradingView. Hit the register button. When you hit that, you will be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning, and we will know that you actually hit it and you want to get in the room in the morning. Okay, so make sure you do that. Now, the day, we had a pretty good day today. We had just what we needed to get us to $800, above $800 per contract on the month. That's what I was really shooting for. Last month we were at 830. 117 to 129, so that was 12. And then a break even. That was a lot of trades on the NQ. And so, looking at the NQ during the break, when it's green like this, if you're being moderately aggressive, you're only going to take long trades, but you can take long trades whenever the blue leads into the oversold by itself. All right. If the leg lengths are short, that's what you're going to be looking for. Now, when you had decent leg lengths like here, you'd be looking for the conservative trades. But when leg lengths get short like this, right through here, or even through here, that's when you start thinking of the aggressive trades. All right, through here and even in here, you'd start thinking that. So there were a lot of long leg lengths in here. So you'd be looking for the trades, and there were this would have been one conservative trade right here. There were not a lot of conservative trades in there. This would have been a conservative trade right here. So that one over there would have been okay. This one right here would have been a break even. This would have been a conservative trade right here. Now these are 19 range bars, so that would have gone about 10 or 15 ticks into profit before it pulled back. Then it switched directions and you wouldn't have had anything until that didn't hit the midpoint. This one right here, that would have been a trade. So in here where it was choppy, you would have been looking for the blue to lead into the oversold by itself, and it didn't do it until over here. This is the only place where the blue led into the oversold by itself, right here. So if you took the aggressive long trade right there, that would have stopped you out. Okay, then it switched directions on you, and you had a conservative short right here. That worked out really well. You had nothing right here. Now you wouldn't have been looking aggressive because the leg lengths are really long in here, so you wouldn't have been thinking aggressive. You're thinking only conservative. So you had one conservative trade. This one right here would have been a conservative trade too. That would have stopped you. That would have given you profit if it was a valid trade, but it wasn't. It was too high. And that was pretty much it, guys. So the break didn't give up all that much today. Okay, following the rules with this. The Russell is not in the overbought right here, so you're not going to have any kind of trade there with the Russell. The gold looks like it might give you a trade here in a minute. And the NQ could give you a trade here in a minute. Okay, thanks, Del. Del says we lost sound on YouTube. I don't know what happened with the YouTube feed, but
it's fine.
Okay,
I checked it.
I don't know what inspired me to do that. I just took a bite of my lunch. Sorry. I'm looking for a down close here. I think I heard your voice, and a lot of times when you talk in the morning, I take moments like that to actually eat my food. Anyway, we're looking for a down close here on the yes. All right, down close of this bar, 23.75 down to 21.75 on the yes. That's what you're looking for, just like that. Now, where it came out of the overbought over here on the NQ was not a trade. It didn't come out of the over. I'm sorry, where it came off the midpoint right there. Where it came out of the overbought was over here. Right, we're in the S trade now. And we need that to go down to right here to bump that stop to break even. Right, it should get at least there, and there it goes. Stop to break even. I'm going to lock in a couple of ticks. So this is our third trade right now. And I'm going to lock in 4 ticks. 10 ticks. I mean 8 ticks. Sorry, so we're out with 8 ticks. So that's our third trade so far in this session. And so far, all 3 trades have been profitable. Right, that was a conservative short right there. That's the easy and obvious trade. That one right there is. Okay, easy and obvious trade.
I weighed in this morning at 149.6.
149.6. I think I weighed that in 8th grade.
I weighed that I weighed that when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that good or bad?
Well, I
I know you're
was
losing weight because you're eating right.
I was short and fat. Yeah, yeah. It's amazing when you take sugar out of your diet and
Yeah, especially if
processed foods and white flour. I mean, it's not like I'm going to the gym and, you know, running on the treadmill for hours or pounding iron. I'm
just remove all that junk out of your diet.
just watch what you put in your body, the temple of the Holy Spirit. And just, it's kind of, I mean, there's been times in my life when I tried to lose weight before, when I got a little heavy, and it was really quite a challenge. Well, yeah, it was a challenge because I was still eating cinnamon rolls and drinking Coca-Cola, and man,
Dairy Claw.
why won't this weight come off? Jiminy crickets! And I did, and back then I did spend a lot of time on the treadmill.
Drinking sugary things.
Yeah. So the real
if you
key.
cut out the sugar and the carbs.
I don't want to diminish the importance of exercise. That is very important, but the real key, if you're trying to lose some weight, and I don't really want to lose any more. If I do already, when I went to church Sunday, I noticed that my jeans, they kind of baggy. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to have to go clothes shopping. So, but I don't know what to do because I'm eating plenty to stay alive, and I'm not going to go back to the other stuff. I mean, once you cut that sugar addiction, it's incredible. I think that's more addictive than heroin, or nicotine, or anything else. That's why they put it in everything. Even dog food has sugar in it. High fructose corn syrup.
High fructose sugar. That's the worst, and they do put that in almost everything. Yeah, most dog foods are really bad for your dog.
Yeah, no, they are. My wife, we got this discount grocery warehouse that we go to where she's able to get the really good stuff for like pennies on the dollar.
That's good, especially now that you get that fancy dog.
Yeah. Yeah, she eats real good.
49 up to 50 now. I'm looking for the long trade over here on gold. Gold is the only thing that's got a trade set up for us right now. Right. So far, we're 3 for 3 in the trades that we've taken, and it's now 122. So we have about 7 minutes left. So the gold, if you get an up close on this, it'd be an easy and obvious trade. Right. What's the low? Is the low at? Well, there it is. We just triggered in. Okay, this is the easy and obvious trade right here. Comes down, hits the midpoint, comes out of the oversold all at the same time. Minimum you expect is to get up to 51.5. Right there. That's the minimum of what you expect. Easy and obvious. I know. I don't have to be aggressive at this point because I'm not trying to beat the clock for anything. We're very profitable on the day, and we're profitable in this session so far. So we'll just let it play out. These are some big moves down here. I haven't looked at this in a while anyway, on the daily. Yeah, yesterday when the FOMC came out, we got pretty close to the BBC, but not quite there. It wasn't really even that close. 68 down to 24. Yeah, we still had 44 points to go. We weren't even that close, really. I don't know what it's going to take. Okay, and what's the high on this today? The high was 22 and the low was 12. See, I think this is going down here. This is the XRP. I think it's going to go down to 283 or something like that. Be a buying opportunity if it gets down there. Last time I said it was a buying opportunity, it was anything below $2. I went up to 360. Now, we'll see. There's nothing we can do here right now on any of these markets. So I'll say this. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. And when you do, you will be sent to this registration page. Just fill it out. We need 5 ticks over here on the gold. 5 ticks in profit. It should make it up to 51.4. So this little bit of a pullback that we got, a little bit of a drawdown, shouldn't be an issue longer term here. Are any of these starting to move up yet? They're all oversold. All 3 of these are oversold now. So it's time for them to start moving up. Get into the overbought and give us a chance to short them. Almost there. One more. There it goes. Stop to break even on this. I'll just lock in 1 tick. So we're 4 for 4. Now we didn't have any big wins, but now we had 4 small wins. Right? No stop outs, so 4 small wins so far. Now the trades that we took though, this ended up being a really good trade right here. I don't remember the one. I think it was over here that we took one. The NQ, not in there. I don't remember what was. Oh, the Russell, wasn't it? The Russell we took in here somewhere. I have to go back and look. Yes, losing weight is a big deal, especially when you get to be a man of a certain age, or a human of a certain age. It's a little harder to break your habits and create new ones. All that stuff. It's a little easier to say, you know what? Another 57. This is what I look like now. It's acceptable. All right, so the gold is still going up. We need pullbacks here on these guys. All right, we are in the overbought on both of them now, but they haven't pulled back far enough to give us a trade on either one. Any of them, they all went into the overbought, and none of them pulled back far enough to give us a trade. Right, but I think I don't know where we shorted the Russell earlier. We shorted up here. Not the Russell, the NQ. I think we shorted it up here somewhere. Anyway, the directions were right on everything so far.
If you run out of things to look at the last post I put in the Breeze channel.
Okay, we'll go look at that. Hang on, where is my Breeze channel? Here is this. That is stuff. Here is the Breeze. Okay, we'll go to the bottom one.
That's from that bottom image there. It's a. I put a during the break. I put a post on Truth Social. I already got like 150 likes off the post, but I just told ChatGPT. I said, create an image for me of God overlooking Trump and the American people. But it remembered the other day that I told it to put a flag background behind Trump and to have him flash a peace sign. So it remembered that, and it incorporated into this new image today.
It's amazing. That's what I was saying.
I can't even remember what it was. Trump had posted something, and I was replying to his post, and my phone just keeps going ding, 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 ding. I don't know if they're bots or real people. I'm starting to wonder because I get so many of them. But then a lot of retruths and a lot of comments, or people mention my name, or so. Jury's still out. I'm sure aggravated with X. You can't call them. It's like Google in the early days. You couldn't call Google.
The InterTrader.
No, or yeah.
Actually, it's even like TradingView. You can't call them either.
Nope.
All right, there was just a Russell trade right here. This was an easy and obvious Russell trade right here. It's still going down. Right, none of the other ones turned into trades. They didn't hit the midpoint, but the Russell did manage to hit the midpoint and get into the overbought. Okay, the NQ is just about that one right here. We only got about a minute left, so we're probably not going to get another trade off. But everything is just tanking right here, and I mean it's not a bad thing, but we're about to get one more trade here. Now you see how the leg length's getting really small in here right now. I think it's about due for a deeper pullback. So when you look at that, back it up like this and see what the deeper pullback looks like. This is the whole leg down. So the deeper pullback on a smaller time frame is going to look like a complete direction change, right? Because this is what the bigger time frame looks like. So on a smaller time frame, when it turns up and it goes all the way up here to this midpoint to get rejected up in this area, you can have a lot of trades on the long side on the way up there, more than likely. It's not like we had a lot of trades on the way down here in this big move down. We didn't. But I just want to point that out, keep things in perspective as we continue to move right now and it starts to retrace in here. All right, well, that is it, guys. I'm going to show you how to take the free trial. You go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. That is going to bring you to the registration page. Fill it out, right? Partners meeting tonight. If you have any questions for the partners meeting, send them in ahead of time, right? You don't even have to go to it. We'll still answer. Okay. All right, everybody. With that, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is right there, ready. Excellent.
Yep. Let me show you.
Okay.
Real quick. I had put a post in the discussion group that I thought that during during the break when the European market closed at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, all morning we were sitting on top of support at the step line and balloon climbing. We were just sitting there. I said, I think when the European markets close, we're going to actually trade through. So our next major support area is going to be down at yesterday's low, which is, come on, 63, 66, 75. So we could see like another 40-point drop.
That would put us at the BBC if we get that other 40-point drop. It's 44
well,
points.
The BBC's here, and the 62% fib extension is here. Yesterday's low.
Okay. Just a wick through it would put us at the BBC.
Yeah.
So that would be good.
Okay.
Good stuff.
I just wanted you to see that.
Yeah. Oh,
so we'll see where we are tonight when the workshop starts. And I'll let you run. Guys, I've already covered all the markets. If you missed them, I covered them in granular detail. Go to youtube.com/CFRN. About an hour after I end this broadcast, and you can watch today's broadcast in its entirety, along with over 2,800 other daily episodes, if you have such an interest. I've already explained how to become a member. Just send an email to support@cfrn.net. Tell Valerie you want to become a member. She'll send you an email that explains what it means to become a member. She'll include a link that you can click to seal the deal, and you'll get an invitation to be in the members only workshop tonight. It's a piece of cake. All right, let's wrap it up with our good word for today. Yesterday, we talked about being beware of covetousness. See, today I can say it. Yesterday, I couldn't say it for the life of me. Now, here's something everybody can relate to. How do you handle fear? And you puff up your chest and go, I ain't afraid of nothing. Oh, stop. Don't embarrass yourself. Psalm 118:6. The Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me? The most man can do to you is take your physical life on this plane of existence here on planet Earth. It's your eternal soul. That's what matters. Being in a position of leadership won't give you courage, but showing courage will establish you as a leader in the eyes of others. American pastor Larry Osborne said, the most striking thing about highly effective leaders is how little they have in common. What one swears by, another one swears against. But one trait stands out: the willingness to risk. If somebody could just whisper that in Jerome Powell's ear. Carvana, their stock was up 44% today because they sold so many cars at these inflated interest rates. Imagine what's going to happen to our economy when somebody, whether it's Powell or the next guy, actually drops the interest rates. The golden age of it will be the roaring 20s all over again. Now, that didn't end so well, but we can change that this time. The psalmist said, "The Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me?" The most repeated phrase in the entire Bible is "fear not." Obviously, God knew that we would be fearful. Roman historian Tacitus wrote, "The desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise. Courage has the reverse effect. It swings doors open, which is one of its most amazing benefits." British theologian John Henry Newman said, "Fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning." I screwed that up. Let me say it again. Fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning. Without the courage to begin, you have no future. Here's something ironic. Those who lack the courage to take risks and those who have the courage to take risks experience the same amount of fear in life. The only difference is that those who are afraid retreat, while those who show courage advance. So, how do you handle fear? And don't tell me you don't have any fear in your life, because we all do. It's part of the human condition. Do you embrace it, or do you try to escape it? Do you put yourself in situations that stretch your faith? Or have you withdrawn so far into your comfort zone that you never feel fear? Only when you have answered these questions can you begin to overcome your fears. The good word for today is courage. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.